This is fried whale steak, breaded whale steaks.
Wow.
And this is from a whale.
In the village of Point Hope, Alaska, nearly everything on your plate comes from the garden, the bounty of sea and land. Here, just making a family dinner from this garden is an effort for Mossack Lane.
For the bigger things, we use the saw. This cuts the fish and the caribou bones or anything.
Lane is an Inupiat. Her ancestors have called this home for more than 3,000 years. Living off the land and sea is a way of life, as there are no roads in or out. Whaling is the center of this Spartan life. Each spring, the community hunts whale in the frigid waters off Point Hope. Just one 50-ton bowhead whale can feed the entire town of 700 for a year.
Every crew has its individual name and a CB call when they see whales coming, and they can communicate so someone can know to cease fire and not scare the whale.
Eugene Brower is a whaling captain. He's been hunting whales since he was 8.
When this penetrates into the whale, 3 seconds later, set the whale, it explodes.
Now, if you do it right, you could kill it instantly.
Just with one shot.
But the Inupiat fear their days of traditional hunting could be numbered. Point Hope lies on the coast of the Chukchi Sea. Under it,
25 to 27 billion barrels of oil, 120 trillion cubic feet of gas. So
Pete Slaby heads Shell's drilling operations in Alaska. In 2008, Shell paid the federal government more than $2 billion for the right to drill off Point Hope starting next year. Slaby says despite the remoteness of the Arctic, drilling will be much safer compared to the Gulf.
will we see a spill like we've seen in Macondo? And I think the answer to that is no. We do not have that volume. We do not have that water depth.
The remoteness of Point Hope has always been part of its beauty, but that remoteness is its biggest worry as well. It takes airplanes like these to move anything in or out. And when it comes to an oil spill, it's that remoteness that it's the biggest worry.
We're way out here. How are they going to bring the equipment? The second thing is the ocean is aggressive, and it can be, and with the ice flows, I'm sure it can just rip through something that they thought may be able to hold.
One of the large assets actually will spend the winter in Alaska this year, the Nanook, a 300-foot ice-classed oil spill response vessel, most modern in the world, that can work in ice, deploy a massive amount of recovery equipment.
And it's not just a potential spill that has residents uneasy. Natives fear that even Shell's initial seismic mapping of the oil field, which uses small explosive charges, will cause the whales to veer away from the noise, making them harder to catch.
It will deflect the migration route. Any noise in front of it will deflect the bowhead whale out from the migration route. So it goes out, it'll start deflecting 20, 25 miles away from the source. Starts coming out, goes on, goes around it.
We have altered our routes so we actually travel away from coastal areas to keep the pressure off seals, walrus, coastal animals.
There goes our way of life.
The oil industry is not our enemy.
Edward Ida is the mayor of Barrow, the largest town on the North Slope. Here, only 20% of the residents depend on whaling for food. That's because Barrow sits surrounded by oil fields. There are restaurants, taxi cabs, banks, and tourists eager to see life at the top of the world.
Our standard of living has improved dramatically, as well as the health, due to our ability to have the good fortune to be able to tax the oil industry.
That good fortune comes in the form of a check to every Alaskan. Every man, woman, and child gets a share of the state's take from oil and gas royalties. But with onshore oil depleting, down more than 65% from the 1980s, the annual payouts will shrink unless new drilling begins. And the final decision over new offshore drilling is mainly in the hands of the federal government. The Obama administration backed oil drilling offshore, only to put new drilling permits on hold after the Gulf disaster. Interior Secretary Ken Salazar came to Barrow in September to talk drilling plans and to hear residents' concerns.
Shell wants us to move forward and to make some quick decisions. We're not going to be rushed. We're going to make the right decisions as we chart the way forward.
Back in Point Hope, Mossack Lane is working in the city office. First up, fixing the rundown rec center for the 200-plus children in town. It's a challenge. The city's total budget is just $200,000. Fixing the rec center will cost thousands, but might be more affordable if the town had oil industry revenue coming in, like Barrow.
Between the young folks, they might be split down the middle because some do want development here. They want to have swimming pools and other recreational activities which we don't have and cannot provide.
Well, there's other communities that are really ready to welcome oil companies in because it will bring some infrastructure. It will mean that they get fresh milk. It will mean that they get fresh vegetables and fruit and meat and a lot of other things that are just difficult to get out there.
Mossack Lane says she's torn. Oil revenue could pay for a rec center, but she worries about a spill destroying her community.
That would lose everything else they even had. Right now, they're rich with the subsistence. The freezers are full with the subsistence foods, and may not have lots of money, but lots of love and food. And the choice they're being faced with is either to choose their garden or choose the money.
On the north slope of Alaska, Dan Goldstein, Energy Now.